So I wanted to talk a bit more about, the process of acting, because obviously I think this is, really, I think some among your best work, Johnny. I
Thank
think you
you.
bring something, special to this film, and also credit to you, Andrew, for helping bring that out of Johnny. But I wanted to ask overall, I mean, do you feel that acting fulfills you in the same way as it did at the early part of your career? Do you feel that, you're reinvigorated by a project like this, or do you get different things out of it?
No, I actually, I was in, the things that invigorated me were the choices that I made back then. It was invigorating to do Crybaby with John Waters after having been accidentally turned into some kind of, poster boy teen idol thing. Um, the choice that I made with John it was the perfect opportunity to make fun of what they'd tried to turn me into, you know. So um, each choice, I mean, that I've made has a specific, you know, there's a specific need in me to play those people. Um, so as far as like here's what it is, it's for me, it's the process. It's the process of um of of becoming prepared. It's the process of finding that person, especially when they existed. There's a pretty gravitational, hugely heavy weight of responsibility to that person. Um, and so, uh, yeah, it's kind of like you have to rebuild that person from bits you can grab here and bits you can grab here, and try to bring that back. Yeah. So with regard to the loving the process, I I I I always loved the process. But back when I was on a television series, it felt a lot like the daily grind. It was 15, 16 pages a day of just quite a bunch of uh, you know exposition and numbness. Um, so yeah, those days have been exercised. But so yeah, I was not, but it's also, it's like the idea of being satisfied with your work, even though I feel and I know that I gave everything that I could to Gene Smith, to playing Gene Smith, and to every character that I played. I give as much as uh, I can. But it's like yeah, you really have to end up knowing the person. You really have to end up knowing that person so much that you can, yeah, uh, put together a little bag of ingredients every day and know where you have to go, where you have to travel to be that guy.
Hmm.
That was a long answer. I'm
I
so
mean,
sorry.
no,
You now have 5 minutes credit.
no, it's fascinating. I mean, I think, there's a maturity to this character, obviously. I think, and there's a certain fascination with, looking at someone at this point in their career. And I think that obviously it takes experience in order to be able to tell this sort of story. And I'm sure it's the same for you, Andrew. I mean, what was it that you connected with about this character? Did it take a certain life experience in order to connect with that aspect of it?
For me,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I was really familiar with Gene's work, obviously, as an artist myself growing up. It was the kind of work that struck me because of the amount of information he was able to put in a single image. And it was across all of his portfolio work, really. I mean, something that's quite consistent with him is being able to show just the darkest elements of humanity, but also in the moments that he captured, in the exact moments, he was always sort of pushing this agenda of hopefulness and love and compassion and the best elements of humanity. And obviously, that's something that or I think most artists would aspire to be able to achieve. I don't think I could ever, I have the benefit of having amazing actors to work with and a million frames, not one, to try to achieve the same goal. But with a character like this, I feel that he was so unique in what he was able to express, and to have gone through the things that he went through and still be able to have and carry with him the absolute joy and hope and love and positivity towards humanity. It just seemed like something that that you almost never see anywhere else. And of course, I don't remember if I had said this to you the other day, but Johnny to me is the only actor working that that could do that, right? Like you could throw anything at Johnny and in a scene, and no matter what you do, I mean, he'd have to wear like blackout sunglasses or have like a freaking mask over his face for you to not automatically feel the sort of goodness and humanity and positivity and belief in people that Johnny carries with him, and that sort of hope for humanity. And just, I hope to express those kinds of things in my work. I hope, and I think that I haven't seen as many bad things as Gene Smith did, and I hope that I never do. But in exploring these things, I try to take that lens with me, and I felt that way since I was a little boy and saw this work and wanted to be an artist. I always wanted people to feel inspired and remember that in the wretched, there's also beauty. When you're heartbroken and you cry, if you can take yourself outside of that for just a moment and see how beautiful it is that you can feel emotion and what a gift it is, like that's the object of life, is to feel. And Gene had that ability to do that. And also that allows an audience, whether it's of a photograph or of a movie or of anything, to lean forward and want to see and engage with the subject matter versus to push back and go, oh, I can't look at that. That was a real beauty of that work. And, I hope to emulate that if I can.
Yeah. And Johnny, I mean, do you feel that, carrying on that same thread, I mean, do you feel that the person that you were at the beginning of your career could have played a character like Gene, or you needed to borrow Andrew's words, have seen some bad things in order to imbue the correct spirit in him?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. That's a really great question. To be honest, no, I think I needed years. I think I needed the years. I think I needed, as we all do, and they arrive in different ways for different people, but there was definitely some things that I had to see and experience before I could ever get to a place to have really been able to understand Gene Smith to the degree that I do, because he's a very abstract character, but because as an actor, I mean, there's really no other way to the degree that I do, because he's a very abstract character, but because as an actor, I mean, there's really no other way to arrive prepared for a scene, and there's no other way to do a scene or to be involved in that collaborative effort if you're not bringing your truth to the table. So your truth becomes your truth, my truth or Gene's truth shapes the way other people will react in the scene. How if he decides to approach someone in a kind of a aggressive way, or if he is humbled, or if he is, so it's, yeah, it's just finding the right ingredients, within yourself to apply to that man and his life, and if you're, I mean, if you're not doing that, then you're you're just doing something else. I think, as an actor.
And I just think, just on that point, if there's a legacy, I think, of the acting work in this film, it's how prepared personally all of the actors were. Obviously, Johnny sets the table, and Johnny is he sets the tone. But every actor, all the way down to the extras, to the actors that played the victims, um, there was such preparedness that it allowed for real freedom in production, where we were able to, allow Johnny and the other actors the space to really find the emotional truth of these moments, and the essential truths, because that's really what we were looking for, right? We wanted something that was it was more than fact. It was about essential truth, human truth. And I think by not forcing everyone, like, say these lines here and move over there and all this stuff that often happens, but creating a process, between Johnny, myself, and our cinematographer, our DOP, Benoit, we were able to create a space for these incredibly talented artists to find those moments and find that truth.
And also, not to interrupt, sorry, I just want to add one thing: to find them together, and to find them not during a rehearsal, but let's roll camera and see what happens. So when you're there with your compadres, and these warriors around you, and we're all working for the same thing. We all want the same goal. What Andrew created with regard to, for an actor, what is conducive to real freedom, and really tending to what that character is going through at the time, and selling it on, I mean, bringing it to life with the cinematographer. So what it is it becomes this kind of, and it's very organic, but many years of doing these movies and stuff, you start to learn the lens, of course, and you start to understand, it becomes second nature where you need to be for the camera to have a good light, but every take like that, for example, in the dark room, Andrew, it was a roll of the dice. We didn't know what was going to happen, not me nor the DP, but we always met up in the right spots. So
Johnny,
there's something very organic in finding that. Go ahead, Andrew. Sorry.
there's only, you have to tailor your production style, right, for the artists that you're working with, and it's very rare. I think there's very few that I could have worked this way with. But Johnny has the incredible ability to find just his instinct. It's like, firstly, we were all on the same page, but beyond that, Johnny's instinct, he just knows how to get there, where to be, how to find it. I mean, Johnny is the only actor I've ever seen who can actually fix a shot in real time while in a scene. Like, somehow it can happen. And so you have the ability with actors of this ilk, and again, there are so few, to really just set the table and let the magic present itself, and let the honesty come and the truth come. And I think that's why, I don't know how often films get made that way, but I think that's probably why you, William, will have responded to Johnny so humanly, his performance in that way, because it's real. What you're seeing on screen is Johnny as Gene, really authentically in those moments, having those moments. We were shooting 20-minute takes. It was not. This wasn't.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great to live to cinema. The way it's shot is okay, here's the master, here's the overs, here's the close-ups, and here's a 2-shot, and here's a 50-50, and here's that, or whatever. This was not, this never approached that kind of filmmaking at all. There was an economy of fanciness, a real economy of just, fancy stuff. Because what is it that you want to be? You want to be the eye. You need to be the eyes and the ears of the audience. So Benoit and Andrew, the marriage between those two was one of the truly, for an actor, one of the greatest gifts I've ever been presented with. Truly, freedom. No barriers, nothing. Just if you're there, you're there. Find it and do it. It was great, amazing.
On that note, I think we're going to have to wrap up now.
The voice.
Thank you guys for taking the time.
Which is a lovely
great
note to wrap up on as well.
Thank you, William.
Thank you, guys.
We gave him the free 5 minutes from my long something.
I think we did. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks,
I'll speak to you
William.
again.
Have a good day.
Good. Take care.
You too.
You will,
Bye.
brother.
You too.
Later.
Dizzy, dizzy, dizzy. Oh.